In this video, we will learn how to combine different levels of detail in one single visualization. So we had the problem that I had to change between the regions and the countries, and this wasn't really comfortable. Let's select the right visualization first. What we want to do is, we would like to be able to have the country and the region information in that chart without having to change the axis again and again. Now, we can do this by adding a hierarchy. Now, let's simply add one to see what that is. So to do this, we simply go to the fields column right here. And in that fields column, we now right-click onto the region name, like this. In that menu that opens now, we can click onto New Hierarchy, right here. And now we can see that we created that new hierarchy below our initial column right here. In that hierarchy, we only have the region name at the moment. But the good thing is, if we now select the country right here and drag it into that hierarchy, it is added. And this is the great thing. It doesn't change the initial columns, so we still have the country and the region name, but in that new hierarchy, we have the same two data. So what can we do with that now? Well, let's first select the hierarchy, like this, and unselect the region name, because you can see that the hierarchy right here is now in the axis area. So I will delete the region name. So far, our visualization looks the same way it did before. So if we click here, the other visualization changes. If I click again, it changes back. So nothing new. Well, that's not true, right? Because if you look onto the top of that visualization, we have some more buttons, or some new buttons actually. Now, what are those buttons doing? Well, let's press some of those buttons. So we can, for instance, press this button here. Let's see what it says. It says go to the next level in the hierarchy. Let's try out what that is, like that. And now it gets interesting, right? Because now we have a more detailed level of the information that we have. So we now have the population data for the different countries. And if I scroll through right here, you can see that we have the information for all of the countries that we have in our data set. Now, this is nice, but how can we get back to our region level then? Well, this is also really simple, because we only have to go up here and click onto that arrow. So we got that. And another interesting information is that if we now go to that data drill ribbon, you remember I said that you should ignore that for the moment when we talked about it in the interface video, then you have the same options right here. You can go to the next level and drill up. Now we also got that drill down. Let's click it. Something changes in the visualization. Let me click it again. So it's this button right here. Click to turn on drill down. Well, let's click that and see what happens. Or no, before we do that, let's click on the button right here again, like this. And as you can see, nothing changed so far. Didn't have an impact. So maybe focus on to Australia and Austria now. Just a quick tip. So let's go back to the previous hierarchy level. But now we activated that drill down. So if I now press on to one single area in that chart, right here for instance, then this looks different, right? Because if you now look to Austria, this is still here, but Australia is gone. And why is it gone? Well, because we only see the countries that are in Europe now. Isn't that interesting? With that drill down functionality, we can define that we can also go to a more detailed level in the chart for single elements of that chart. In that case, the region Europe. So if we now go back right here and click onto Asia, for instance, we have the same thing for Asia. And that's the really great functionality of that hierarchies and of that drill down function, of course. So we added an additional element to our visualization. But what if you would like to limit the hierarchy levels? Well, you can do that simply if you go to the fields column, and you can see that we now enabled both hierarchy levels, so the region name and the country name. If you unselect the country now, then you cannot drill down to the country level. In our case, this doesn't make a lot of sense because we only have 2 hierarchy levels, so we can reselect it. But if you would have more levels, then you can limit the amount of levels that you want to be displayed right here. So we got that. Let's enable the drill down and click right here. So we now have that visualizations, and we added a lot of functionalities already. The only thing that I don't like right now is the formatting. So I think it's time to take a quick look at what formatting options we actually have in Power BI Desktop. Let's do that in the next video.